Hi everyone, I wanted to go over the information in chapter 2, which is organizing, displaying, and describing data. And so I wanted to give you a little tutorial in SPSS on how to do some of the things that you'll be asked to do in your homework assignment. So what I have here is I've entered just some made up data. So this is, I went to my variable view. I have the different variables, a student ID number, age, gender, degree, and years worked. And so those are the variables that we're going to be looking at. Those are all numeric, and I have labeled them with their full title. Also, just remember when you type things in that in this name column, there can't be any spaces, so you can do an underscore. And there's some other limitations on some of the symbols and things you can put into here. So if it gives you an error, just try typing something that doesn't include a space. That's most frequently the error that people make when doing that. So we have put in our values. So student ID, there's going to be no values because those will just be the ID numbers. Age will just be obviously chronological age. So there's no values needed here. Under gender, we did use the values of 0 being male, 1 being female, and 2 being any classification of any other gender. Under degree, we have used 0, the number 0 for associate's degree, 1 for bachelor's degree, 2 for master's degree, and 3 for doctoral degree. Be sure that you have these values entered or your data won't be easily interpreted. And then the years worked is just a numerical year, and so you won't need any use values there. So I'm gonna, all of these measures are going to be different. So the nominal for gender, for highest degree is going to be an ordinal, and for years worked, it's just going to be a scale because it's just a scale of, however many years worked. So we've got the right measures in here. So I've done all of my variables, and then I went into data, and all of these, all the data was entered in. So this is the ID number, this is how old they are, this is their gender coded with the numbers that we put in. This is the degree, again coded, and the years worked, and that's just like a numerical value of 5 years, 20 years, 11 years, 16 years. So in the homework assignment for this week, you are going to be doing by creating a few different things related to frequencies and central tendencies. And so I believe that the questions ask you to create a histogram and then to also answer some questions about some of the data and create frequency distributions, compute the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and interquartile range, and what asking you some that you see. So I am going to give you a little tutorial on how to create some of those things, and then you'll have to derive the answers from the data set. So once you have your data set in here and everything entered and labeled correctly, you're going to go to Analyze, and then you're going to go to Descriptive Statistics, which is right here, and then you're going to go to Frequencies. And so then this comes up, and actually when you get it, let me put these back here. When you see it, it will look like this. So everything, all of your variables will show up on the left-hand side. So any variables that you want to look at, you're going to want to move to the right side here. So I want to look at age, I want to look at gender, I want to look at degree, and I want to look at years worked. Student ID number isn't really a helpful, it's not an outcome measure, it's more just an identifier. So I don't need that in here. And then I'm going to make sure that this box is checked, display frequency tables. And then when I am going to go over here to statistics. And so when you first click on the statistics, none of these boxes will be checked. So you're going to have an empty sort of an empty thing here. So you're going to click on quartiles. You're going to click on percentiles, and we'll just I have already added percentile, like just percentiles. You'll just add 1. So what you'll want to do to look like this, you'll need to type 1 and then hit add. And so your percentiles will be in one percentiles. You're going to have mean, median, and mode. You're going to click standard deviation, minimum, maximum, variance. And then you are set to go with this. So you're going to hit continue here. Then you want to go to charts. And so charts is where you'll be able to get a histogram. So you're going to ask for histogram, and you're going to want to show the normal curve on the histogram. So that way you can evaluate if your data is normally distributed or whether it is abnormally distributed, is not normal. And that'll come into play a little bit later when we start thinking about statistical tests. So you're going to hit continue here. And then you're going to hit OK. And you're going to get this output. So here is on the left-hand side is a listing of everything that there is on this side. So we have done this for all of these age, gender, highest degree, and years work, all 4 of the variables. So some basic descriptive statistics you can find here is that you can find age. You'll know basically how many. So there's the N is 10. And then you can find your mean, your median, your mode, and your standard deviation. And so you can find this for all 4 of your variables right here. You can find the minimum, maximum, and then, the percentiles. You scroll further, you'll get some frequency tables. So you'll get your age, and then it will tell you that 20% of our population is 19 years old, 30% is 20 years old, 30% is 21, and 20% are 22. For gender, we have 70% female, 30% male, and you see the actual raw numbers in the N category there. Highest degree, so we've got 20% with a master's degree, 50% with a bachelor's degree, and 30% with an associate's degree. And then we have the years worked. And so this here, the years worked, obviously everybody's worked a different amount of years, so that's sort of evenly distributed. But you would be able to find sort of the average years worked if you scrolled up here, years worked. If you go to the mean, 9.6 years is sort of the mean number of years that people have worked. Next, you have your histograms. So you're going to have 4 histograms. And so age is the first one. And actually, this looks very normally distributed. And then gender, and that curve is fairly normal, though skewed a little bit over here to the one side because we have more females in this population. Highest degree is pretty normally distributed here. So you can down and then up and then down. And then years worked. And so years worked, we have some people with more. So this is the normal curve. We're not quite normal on this data, looking at it just to start, but not too far off. So this is what you're going to use to answer some of the questions that are posed within the assignments. What you need to turn in is you need to save this. So you'll need to save this output. So you're going to save as, and then I want you to label it by the question number. So this was question 2. You would label it as question 2. And so that way I can see that you've created the output that you've made. So I suggest saving all your homework assignments someplace in the cloud, and that way you have them to look back on. I hope this helps as you continue to work in SPSS and continue to start to interpret some of the output that you're now working to get.